back to another video. And today's video, I'll be talking about study abroad. But yeah, no, this is like a highly requested video in my mind. Because a lot of people wanted me to talk about it. But yeah, let's kind of get into, I guess, some general stuff on where I studied abroad, why I studied abroad, who I studied abroad with, that kind of stuff. Like basic information. But yeah. Also, I just want everyone to notice my nails. Compliment them, please. Aren't they so pretty? Oh. Okay, so the first thing is kind of, I guess I should give like a thing on like what is study abroad. Basically, for me, it was so for my college that I attend, it was a semester in the fall or spring, or a summer session, which is 6 weeks. I think they offered like 2 or 3, and then they also had like major based ones. And so that was also specifically only summer, and I know, yeah, it's kind of. And so I did the fall semester, and you also had 3 places you could go to: one in Leipzig, Germany, another in Oxford, England, and one that is discontinuing, I guess, in Montevideo, Spain. I don't know if that's right. I don't know Montevideo. But I know they speak Spanish, so. But so I obviously, if you can tell by my first ever vlog, I studied in Leipzig, Germany. And yeah, I'm going to talk about like why I chose Leipzig, Germany, my experience, and then actually asked my friends a bunch of questions that they would want to know. And so I'll be reading that off. And so, but yeah. So why did I choose Leipzig, Germany? So I'm not gonna lie to y'all, Leipzig was not my first choice. Learning a different language, I took Spanish 1 and 2 because that was like what we had to do for my high school curriculum. Hated them. I hate learning. I cannot learn. Like, my brain just does not comprehend learning a new language. And so it was just not something I'd want to do. And so I've always wanted to go to England. Obviously, I was a big nerd in like specifically middle school when I was in my like peak Harry Potter phase up until like probably sophomore year of high school is when I was like, it was like fresh. It was like middle school to high school when I was going through my peak Harry Potter phase. So I was like always wanting to go to like London and like do all that stuff. And so that was gonna be my first. But so like I don't know if all colleges do this, but my college has like an honors program, and so it's like specifically designed for honors. And also, since Oxford, you don't really have to know a different language, it's highly picked upon. And so basically you have to fill out this application saying why you want to study abroad. You have like an interview, and then you either get accepted or denied. And so since Leipzig, obviously you're learning a different language, not many people want it. And so after hearing that the Oxford one was more specifically honors and it was like highly seeked upon, I was like, okay, no, it's not what I want to do. And so I chose Germany. So I kind of was like just hoping, since I live in a town that speaks or that is based on German roots, I was like, we're gonna try this. And I am very much a love of culture. I love different cultures, love getting to experience those things, and it's like just something I've never been able to do because there's not a whole lot of, being a white person, I don't have a lot of culture, and so being in a different culture was something I really wanted to do and wanted to appreciate. And so I think another reason why I chose Germany is because my grandpa was he was a Marine in Vietnam, but his dad was also, I believe, in the Army, Air Force, maybe, I don't know, something. And so he was a military brat, and so they moved around a lot. And I think part of me wanted to connect with him in a deeper level. And yeah, I think that was kind of like why. I didn't really have a whole big reason as to why I was going into it. I mean, you kind of always got asked like, why Germany of all places? And like, honestly, looking back, I don't think I would have chosen anything else, knowing everything that I've gone through. Because I absolutely loved it. I'm not just saying that because I think everyone should travel. I'm just saying I absolutely loved Germany and I loved everything it had to offer. So I guess I'll give you a layout of kind of what it looked like. So we left September 5th, and we were supposed to get there September 6th. Um, and so we left the Dallas airport, flew out, landed in London, Heathrow. Heathrow then canceled our flight. So we had to stay in London overnight. And so you have like, I want you to imagine this. You have 14 college students, oldest being 21, the youngest being 18. And so you're having a whole bunch of college students that have, one, never met each other, and two, be in a foreign country, which me personally, I have not been out of the country ever. And so I was like, what is going on? And only little messaging between our person that was kind of like in charge of us. And so that was interesting because we stayed the night at a hotel. Again, we're also going on London 6 hours ahead of Texas time, and Germany 7. And so we were like 6 hours ahead of our time. And it's like, what? And so we were stuck in the airport for a long time, trying to wait on our bags. It was like just a mess. And then we got to, I don't even know where we landed in Germany. I think we landed in Frankfurt. And then there's just a whole mess in Germany with our flights being canceled, us missing flights because flights were delayed, just a whole mess. But somehow we ended up in Berlin, Germany, which is where we're supposed to be. And then I'm like, yeah, so you actually have a 2.5 hour bus ride. And fun fact, my phone died. And so I was like, cool. But it was fine. So yeah, I basically, once we got there, we stayed in this kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a villa, is what we called it. Just like a really big house. Kind of like not in the center of Leipzig, but like kind of near the center. Um, and so there was 15 people. One RD, I guess, is what I call her. And then we had Tilty from where I go to school and their kid with us. And so we had a lot of people in the house, basically. I guess something I would want to go to is, how is it living with that many people? So fun fact about me, I am an only child. It was rough. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. It was rough. Especially towards the end. I think we were all just done because we had Thanksgiving that we had to host. And then we had like 2 finals the next day, and one was my Bible final, and I had to write so much for that. And then I had my global studies final, and I had to write an essay for that, and I literally just didn't care. I was already clocked out. And so it was a lot, honestly. Like, you were trying to like figure out how to meet with these people that we all were different backgrounds, different majors, different viewpoints on a lot of stuff. And so it obviously created a very weird environment. And so it was hard at times. It really was. Especially for me, it was hard because I had gone through a really hard summer with dealing with family and coming out and going to my school's a private Christian college, let's just say that, and not particularly fond of gay people. And so just really hard. It was really hard, it was really scary. But yeah, it was rough, but I ended up meeting some of my favorite people, being some of my favorite people. And I got really close to them, and so I'm very extremely grateful for that. And it really taught me a lot about like how to work with different people, because that is like extremely important for me in my going into psychology. But yeah. There's something else I was gonna mention. Oh, traveling. Yes, traveling. What was traveling like? And so basically, we'd have Fridays off, and we'd have to be back by class on Monday. So traveling was really fun. The first weekend we were there, we went to Berlin. That was like one of our trips. So we had like trips that our school like gave to us, and so we had that. We had one to Weimar, and then another one to Greece. And so the trip to Berlin, we had during that week we had a 2 hour walking tour in Leipzig, Germany. Fun fact about me, I hate walking. Like, you will not catch me once I walk in. No, 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 no. No, we did not do that. That's just not my favorite thing to do. And then we got to Berlin, and I personally do not like Berlin. I have beef with Berlin by now because Berlin did not let me back in the country almost when I was coming back from London. But that's, different story for a different day. And so, I don't know, it was very more modern. I've never been to New York, but that's kind of how I imagine New York. It was very interesting. Also, but it was really cool getting to see like the Berlin Wall and where that took place and get to learn a little bit more history about that. Um, but we did have a 4 hour walking tour and it started raining. Yeah, no, that was not fun. And it was freezing cold. So that was really great. But then we got like a day to ourselves and so but yeah, no, that was really fun because I just got to do stuff by myself. Because one thing about me is I love being by myself. And so I just went and traveled by myself. And so I got to see a lot of different stuff that I probably wouldn't have been able to see. And it was really fun and it was really cool. It was really great. I guess, I think we did Greece next. So Greece, we were there for actually a week, a whole week in Greece. Honestly, the only reason I knew what Greece was because of Mamma Mia and my obsession with Mamma Mia. Um, and honestly, I think it was like one of my favorite trips. And so, sorry, my mom's yelling at my dog. Um, But yeah, no, I really liked it. The food was amazing. It definitely broke me because I was so mentally drained because it was our educational field trip. And so, since we weren't doing classes, we had to like constantly be doing these tours, which I loved the tours. I loved the person that did our tours. Her name was Eleni, and I love her so much. But it was a lot of walking. Like, I was sunburnt by the end because it was like, so like in Leipzig, it was like around probably 60 degrees. Here, it was like in Greece, it was like Texas weather. Nasty is what it was. And so I was sweating a lot, really hot. Also had a lot of stuff going on personally that week that I couldn't talk about with anyone. Still can't really talk about. Um, but just it was a lot that week. But I ended up getting baptized at Phoebe's church, which was a super cool thing, and I got to learn a lot more about Phoebe. Um, and I wrote a whole paper about her. I just love Phoebe in the Bible. But that was a really great experience for me. Um, and I don't know, it was just a great time. I really loved it. Just loved getting to shop around. It is very touristy though, so we were in Athens, but it was really fun. And I got to swim in the Aegean Sea, I think that's how you pronounce it, which was so freaking cool. Like the water was like crystal clear. And if you live in Texas, you understand my expectations were not high because the beaches here. Insert picture here of a Texas beach, particularly Galveston. But apparently Galveston's got better. I don't know. But so yeah, it was just amazing. I absolutely loved that trip. But it was a lot because it was constantly like go, 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 and it was like no like stop and take a break. So it was a lot, especially for someone who doesn't do all that stuff. It was a lot for me. So I guess on when we're talking about travel, I guess travel worked because I'm trying to think of like where I went. Where did I even go? I think I really stayed in like Germany for the most part when I traveled with people. Like we went to where was it? I want to say Denmark. It was not Denmark. Denmark is not in Germany. Oh my gosh, what was it? Dresden. Dresden. We went to Dresden, and that was really cool. Really liked Dresden a lot. Honestly, could not tell you where else I went in Germany. Well, a lot of different places, but I also went to Italy, because we had like a fall break, and so we had a week off, and I went to Rome, and I stayed with my family. That was a experience. There's a reason why that was not my favorite trip. What all I'm gonna say about that. Um, but yeah, so it was just like a lot of traveling, and I would definitely take weekends off because it was like a lot, a lot. Um, but overall, I think it was a great time, and I definitely loved getting to explore a lot of Germany. I also like staying in Leipzig because it gave me more familiarity with the area. Um, Honestly, hot take, y'all. I personally like the German pizza better than the Italian pizza. That's all I gotta say. Don't come at me. I'm just speaking my truth. So the first question I have is, how did I deal with anxiety with being in a new place and more particularly in a new country? And so anxiety is something really big I struggle with, and I think this is really important to touch on because going abroad is extremely nerve-wracking, especially with the whole group of new people. Oh my gosh, what the heck did I just say? Whole new group of people. And so I remember sitting in the airport when I was leaving, and I was like literally about to back out. I was like, I cannot do this. I was texting my mom. I was like, I literally don't think I can. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it. So I'm like, I'm gonna be over across like for 3 months. I'm like, what if people don't like me? Like, there's just a lot of thoughts. Um, and I think my anxiety still kind of rammed up just because you're with different people and it was a lot to deal with. And obviously, I struggled a lot with like mental health issues while I was there. Um, and I think really, I guess how I dealt with it was just like one, keeping in contact with family back home, um, making sure I had that support system there, um, because there were a lot of nights where I just couldn't talk to people at the villa, and so I was like, you know, I need to talk to family. I'm also really terrible at opening up with new people, so yeah, and so making sure I had that, then also really trying to branch out of my comfort zone. There's stuff I do, um, really kind of forcing myself to meet new people and hang out, but also making sure I'm taking time for myself. So like pretty much mostly every day after classes, before it got freezing cold, I would go out and I would just walk around. Sometimes I would go to one of the bakeries. Sometimes I would go shopping. I'd go get like I would go to get groceries. Like I would do something, because vitamin D is such an important thing. And I think not being in a country where that is not really, it was very cloudy and rainy all the time, basically. And so I could see an impact on my mental health. And so whenever it was sunny, I would absolutely make sure I would go out and get what I needed for myself. And a lot of people were very confused why I was constantly going out by myself. But for me, I needed to do it because that's what I wanted to do. And like, there's times where I was sad and like, it sounds so weird, but I would go out and get McDonald's because McDonald's is like a piece of America. And so that was kind of like what brought me back. And so I think that's kind of like how I dealt with it. I think overall it was scary being in a new country, but I think just really embracing everything for what it was really helped me with anxiety, and also just making sure I had a support system along the way. Really just making sure I was taking care of myself overall. Okay, the next question I have is, how did I settle into a routine and how is it different from America? So I think it's pretty, I was really scared to pick out a routine because I'm not usually a routine person. Um, but I do like routine, so it's kind of weird. But I don't know. I think having classes and having like a set schedule was made it easy to be able to have that routine. Like I would have classes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I would have German on Monday, Wednesdays. Um, I would have global studies on Monday. I would have Bible on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then I had two online classes also. And so it kind of made it easy where I was able to develop a routine of like, okay, I'll do English on Monday also because I had assignments due on Tuesday. And so I would kind of like weirdly form a plan every week. That made it a lot easier because I'm a procrastinator. And so it just made it a lot easier. And sometimes I would take weekends off from traveling. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my sleep. Sometimes I would take weekends off from traveling, to make sure I was studying. and making sure I was not caught up because I know what it does to me if I'm not caught up. And I ended up catching up on a lot of work that a lot of people felt very behind on at the end. So I was very grateful that I did that. Um, I was different from America. Very different. Mostly because it's like adjusting to a new routine because when I'm back home I have like my set of classes I go to and it's all week. Um, and I'm actually getting out of the house, so it's just a little bit different having to take classes inside a place. Um, it's just a little bit different. I don't know. I don't know how to necessarily answer the question, but yeah, it's just a lot different. It's like a lot different than America for sure. I don't know. Hopefully that answered that. Okay, my next question is what was the hardest part of the whole experience? I think, oh gosh, I feel like there was a lot of rough parts, a little rough bumps in the road. I think the hardest part was probably just honestly being away from home. Um, I'm not usually, or I kind of depends. Like, I don't usually get homesick necessarily. I mean, I live 4.5 hours away from home, so it just kind of depends. I definitely would get homesick though, and I think having a support system back home, and there was just a lot that I carried, I'll say, going in to study abroad. And I think that was really hard. And having to deal with that and digest that. Um, and there's times where I just needed my best friend Grace and I would just call her because I just needed her. Um, and that was just really hard. And there's stuff that she went through that I was not able to be there for. And support her physically. Like I was able to call her and check in with her and make sure she was okay, but I couldn't be there. And I think that was really hard for me to not be able to do that because I'm very much a I want to be there and help you type of person. And so it was really hard. Obviously, dealing with people who um, don't agree with my sexuality was really hard. Um, Having to have those hard conversations with people was really hard. Um, but I'm very grateful that I was able to do that. And I've definitely learned to advocate for myself. So it was rough, but I'm weirdly glad for it. Okay, this next question kind of ties into it. I didn't read the next one, but it's how did I overcome the distance with my family and friends? Honestly, I called my mom every single day. Like, so when it was 1 p.m. over there, I would get done with my classes because I started at 11, ended at 1. And so my mom would be getting up at 6 a.m. to go to work and get ready for work. And so I would call her every day at 1 p.m., 6 a.m. Texas time. And I think that's really how I kept in contact. Sometimes she would call me if I didn't call her that day, for whatever reason, and she's like, "Are you okay?" Um, just because I was just like I guess I was also part of my routine, which is calling my mom. And I would really make sure to keep in contact with my friends back home. Um, Not that I had many, but I definitely kept in contact with Grace a lot. I have a really great church support system, and I would keep in contact with them by posting on Facebook because they're a lot older, and so that's just how it's just easier for them to see posts that way. And so I'd make sure I shared all my photos to Facebook from my Instagram whenever I'd make a post, so they can see that. Um, and I'm trying to think what else I did. I think that was really how I kept in contact with my family. It was a little bit harder because letters. Grace sent me a letter I never got, so yeah. But I think it was definitely hard during my birthday because it was my 21st and it was like without my family or my friends. So that was really hard. But I think I was able to overcome it just like really making sure I'm keeping in contact with them. Because overall they are very much my support system. So that is the end of this video, I think. don't think I have any more things I really wanted to add, but yeah, I really just wanted to share my experience with studying abroad and kind of why I chose Leipzig, Germany. I absolutely loved Leipzig. I would not trade it for the world. Um, it taught me a lot about myself and who I am and what I believe in, and so I'm extremely grateful for that. Um, I did stuff I never thought I would do before. I traveled to London by myself for a weekend, dealt with struggles back home, and also having to deal with them in a whole nother country. I learned how to manage a barrier language and or a language barrier, uh, and overall, I just really found myself. Um, and so I'm very grateful for that. And I definitely miss it a lot. I miss the spending less than $100 on groceries. Um, but I absolutely love it, and I know I will definitely be going back. I don't know when. Probably when I actually have money in my account because right now I'm broke with Christmas. But yeah, no, I definitely will be going back. But yeah, that is the end of this video. This is probably the last video you'll see with this backdrop for a hot minute. Probably until spring break, which is in March. So yeah. But it's gonna be crazy for the next couple days because today is December 22nd, 23rd, 23rd maybe. And so, oh my god, sorry, the light is like glaring on me. And so, yeah, it's gonna be a crazy couple days because my family's coming in and I'm going to see family, and then I move into my house January 3rd. So, but yeah, so it's gonna be a crazy time. So, I probably will record in my new house, and I have a flag that I'm gonna use as my backdrop. I'm so excited for y'all to see that. But yeah, thank you again for all the love and support. It really means a lot. But yeah, I will see y'all in the next video. Bye!